here are the instructions for the To Know Me is to Love Me Valentine's Day circular slider card. So the first piece for the mechanism, you have this one heart that has these score lines on it. Then we have two heart pieces that have a circular channel cut out of them. Cut these pieces out of Cricut craft board because I needed something nice and thick. I'm just going to glue these two layers together. These two need to be glued together as well. They're extremely similar in shape, so just pay attention to the lines here just to make sure that they're stacked up properly, gluing one to the other, making sure that the edges are nice and flush. The circular band is going to be positioned here in the final card. Okay, so now on my base card, you'll see that there are score lines. And these score lines are basically outlines to tell me exactly where to glue down this piece. So I'm just going to put glue on this piece and glue it down right on top of those score lines, like so. And then I'm going to temporarily put this piece into position. I'm not gluing it down, I'm just putting it where it will be in the final card. And then I'm going to put glue on the back of this piece and insert it. And you'll see that it'll fit within the score lines again, but I'm positioning it in a way so this piece still moves freely. Next we have these little tiny pieces. There's 5 of them in the file. Just glue them together, stacking them up one on top of the other. So I have my 5 layers all glued up together, like so. Next I have some adhesive foil that I'm going to just adhere to my rotating circle. So next you have your heart-shaped piece that has a semicircle cut out of it, and we're just going to adhere this to the top of our card. With my ring piece in position, so I'm just putting glue all along that craft board, being sure not to touch my foiled piece. And then I'm just adhering my heart-shaped piece to the top. Next, I'm taking that little stack of tiny pieces that I made, making sure that this entire message is visible. I'm going to put glue on the base of my little stacked pieces, and I'm inserting them just at the bottom of that foiled piece without touching the top piece. You want the glue to go just on that little bit of foiled piece. So when you turn it, that piece moves upwards. So next I have my little gnome. I have an offset layer for him that's in foil craft board. What I like to do is to just color the edges. The foil craft board has brown edges, and I like to color it in just in case you can sort of see it on the top of the card. I also make sure that the wrong side of my craft board is facing me, so as I'm coloring, if I slip onto the wrong side. I'm just gluing my gnome to its offset. Originally in this image there was a little printed heart above my gnome, and I didn't like the way it printed out. So I converted the heart to a cut piece, and I'm just adhering it to the offset layer. So next I'm taking this little tab piece with a hole at the bottom, and I'm taking my offset gnome piece that also has a hole but at the top, and I am matching the holes. And you can use what I have here, these little tiny brads. They're very, very small. I've also used slightly larger, so if that's all you have in your stash, these brads will work as well. So I'm just matching the holes on those 2 pieces, inserting the brad from the back, and then opening the brad up flat. So I'm just putting my Cricut tool underneath here. I want the legs of my brad to lay flat, but I want them to be nice and loose on my piece so that it moves quite freely. I'm just going to put glue on that shadow layer, and I've pretty much avoided putting glue on the part with the brad. I want that brad to really be able to move quite easily so that my piece moves very, very easily. So now I have my topper, and I'm making sure that that circular piece that I've built up is in its bottommost position. The message "Be Mine" can be seen completely. I'm just putting a little bit of glue just along the top of that piece that sticks out. I'm sticking just the tab down. So I'm sticking my tab to just those that stack of layered pieces. And then when you turn your little gnome, he moves up and down. If your gnome moves quite nicely, you may be happy with just leaving it the way it is. But I like a little bit of weight on my gnome to make sure that he turns properly as the wheel is turning. So what I'm doing is I put a piece of double-sided tape on the back of a penny. It's a Canadian penny. It's out of circulation anyways. And then I'm just putting it as added weight to the bottom of my gnome. So I flipped my gnome over carefully and I've just adhered the penny to the bottom. You cannot see it from the front, but as you turn him, he stays in a better position. So if you were happy before, then don't bother with this step, but it's just a nice little step to make him, you know, move a little bit easier. So now let's work with the card base. So I have my two hearts that I've welded together and formed a little bit of an edge to it. So I'm just folding down the score line between the two hearts, and that forms a little corner for my card. I have a vinyl scrap I've cut out Happy Valentine's Day, so I'm just going to put my sentiment in the corner here. So I've placed my card topper temporarily on top, just to be sure of placement for my sentiment, just on the corner here. And then I'm going to work on the interior of the card. Now, my topper is several layers, it's quite hefty. I have my black offset layer for my heart, and then I have my print and cut heart where you would sign the card and put a message. And then on the back of it, I'm just going to adhere this heart. Now I've cut out just a teeny tiny sliver just in case that gets in the way when you're opening the card. And it's on the back of the card, so nobody will ever see it. It's just to help with the little mechanism of the card a little bit. So I'm just going to glue down these two layers and the layer on the back. By adding those 3 extra layers on the interior of my card, it makes this a little bit more solid, a little more sturdy. And now I'm just going to glue down my card topper. So I'm just putting glue along the back of the heart, and I'm just matching the edges along the card base.